we continue our conversation here. We're in celebratory mode. Trinidad and Tobago's first female president, the 6th president of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, joining us on set. Attorney at law, Miss TNT Universe 1998, and so many other things. Wendy Fitzwilliam, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Lovely to be back with you.
It's a pleasure. We have a lot to discuss, and I know you are
Yes.
particularly excited. My first question, how important is this appointment, Trinidad and Tobago's first female president?
Ooh, I'm thrilled that we do have our first female president, and I look forward to the time when we don't have to talk about the first female anything, when
Good.
sex doesn't matter. You know, and I think we've chosen well. That's why I'm particularly excited. Yes, it's important that we do have our first female president, but the quality of the president is very, very important. And Her Excellency, Paula May Weeks, has demonstrated during the course of her entire career that she has the mettle, I think, to take on this job and do so very well. I think that's why the population is so excited by her appointment.
You mentioned quality. Let's talk about
Yes.
some of her qualities, characteristics. What stood out to you?
As I said, you know, she has been in the legal profession all of her career. She's a very well-respected judge, not only here, internationally, a woman of integrity, very stern, but there's an aspect to her that we have not focused on too much, I think, and that is her compassion, which is very important. You know, we associate being ethical and disciplined with penal, ugly behavior sometimes. You have to be hard and harsh. I don't think we need more hard and harsh. I do think we need someone who cannot be easily swayed, and she has demonstrated that she's not. As I said, a woman of integrity, but there's a kind, compassionate quality to her that I think we lack generally. And I'm looking forward to her demonstrating that, continuing to demonstrate that in her actions, and I hope our population supports her. You know, we're always looking for a messiah. And as great as Her Excellency is, she can only be effective if she has the support of all of us. And I'm not talking about only the political directorate or the leaders of commerce, etc. I mean all of us as Trinidadians have to step up. I hope that this euphoria that we're experiencing with her appointment continues, and we, the people of the beautiful Twin Island Republic, demonstrate by our actions our support for her leadership.
Okay, let's chat a little bit about some of the issues she highlighted.
Yes.
She spoke directly to work ethic.
Oh, yes.
She said you need to go to work and actually get some work done. We know it's no secret. We know the level of work ethic we have here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's actually our #1 problem when it comes to conducting business here. What are your thoughts on that?
That's right. That starts at the top. So again, you know, this is a president who, during the course of her career, has demonstrated that she has an excellent work ethic. So it's lovely to see someone like that rise to the top. You know, we just have to, we tend to focus on the small man. You know, the secretaries, the laborers, you know, the teachers who come to school when they feel like, and then give extra lessons for a lot of money. And all the naughty things that happens across the board here in any profession. But it starts at the top. So if you own a business here, you're a contractor, you own a construction company, and you hardly show up for work, and your employees hear you shoo-shooing with your politician friends to get a job, why do you think they're going to get up early in the morning and show up every day and give you their best? Because our ugly has been at the top for a very long time. And the only way you fix that is by fixing it across the board. You can't focus at the lowest levels of the public sector or the private sector. We have to, as I said, that's what I meant by all of us. All of us, by our actions, providing the kind of support to our new president, and therefore to our country. Remember, she's in service to us. So really and truly, that support we're giving her is really a little bit selfish. It's really supporting us and building the kind of society we would like. I think we do have someone in that office who is keen to turn around some of the ugly we see in Trinidad and Tobago, and our work ethic is certainly not at all where it should be. We have gotten very lazy as a country. So we expect to do well, live very comfortably with minimal effort. Doesn't work that way anywhere for very long. It's going to pop at some point. So we have to sort of, as my mom says, take in front before in front takes you.
It's a good one. Youth and crime. That is another area that she spoke to. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, what I loved so far in listening to Her Excellency is her approach. You know, she has come through the legal system, so she knows very intimately our issues, not only in terms of law, but beyond the law. How does someone get there? So yes, punishing and genuinely punishing bad behavior is necessary. You know, our rate of detection is awful, but even more so is our rate of conviction. You stand a better chance of being a criminal in Trinidad and Tobago, a more successful criminal than an accountant or teacher, because the failure rate for those professions much higher than the failure rate for criminals when you break down the numbers. So yes, we have to address it through the penal system, but again, we have to, I think, go back to kindness and compassion, which is something she spoke about. You know, her humility I like very much, the fact that she recognizes that she is in service to us. You know, I hope she tells herself that every day as our people blow hot air all up her parts, because that's very important to move us forward. If you look at the world leaders who have made remarkable change in their countries over a relatively short period of time, I think of people like Nelson Mandela, like Gandhi, like Barack Obama recently, it's because they reminded themselves daily that they were in service to their populations. And there's a level of, with humility, and humility does not mean an absence of confidence, but with humility comes those qualities that I think are necessary to move us forward. Compassion, kindness, the ability to hear our youth. Our youth emulate what they see, you know, in terms of the adult population around them, you know, and not just their parents, etc. As I said, our leadership, both in the public and private sectors. And they're just emulating what they see. It may be a little bit more scattered and ugly because they haven't honed the craft of doing it with finesse. But they're emulating what they see. You know, so addressing our youth requires us, I think, addressing ourselves in a real way, creating genuine opportunities for them. This is a highly educated population. There's nothing worse for society than zero opportunities with a lot of education. Then you get up to no good. You know? So it really is up to us collectively, I think, to provide the support necessary, not only to our president, but in turn to ourselves moving forward.
What specific areas are you hoping she would address in the judicial system?
Ooh.
As an attorney at law.
That's a hotbed.
Yeah.
You know, I think she has outlined the areas that she would like to focus on. You know, our youth in the criminal system, I think it's heartbreaking. And that's something that we can relatively quickly address and get a few wins in terms of moving our youth population that are at risk or already in the system. We can move that needle relatively quickly.
Right, so
I
a
think.
swifter process.
Correct.
Yes.
And not just a process in terms of convicting and locking them up forever, but in rehabilitating. I think that's a key component, which I think, having spent so much time in the judiciary, Her Excellency will focus on. That's one quick win. And then her approach to her profession, to life, and bringing back to the office of the presidency a certain level of statesmanship that rises above the political fracas. I think that's very, very important. You know, I spent most of my childhood, if not all of it, I think, with Ellis Clark as our president. And then after Sir Ellis, we had His Excellency Nur Hassan Ali, who was also a judge. They were absolutely wonderful gentlemen because they not only handled the politics of the day and the law very efficiently, but they got down into the weeds in a way in which a lot of people don't appreciate about both Sir Ellis and Nur Hassan Ali, without losing the respect of the population as it pertains to their office. You know, so I remember very clearly as a girl guide at Diego Martin Girls RC, going to President's house and spending a lot of time with Sir Ellis. On a Saturday, he would come out and hang out with us and tie knots with us and do very interesting things with us. He was very instrumental, very, very quietly in supporting Corpus Christi College in Diego Martin. And I know he did this across the country. I'm from Diego Martin, so of course I will speak about what I know in terms of my part of the country. Nur Hassan Ali was the same in that regard. And while his personality was very different to Sir Ellis in some respects, you know, he and his wife worked very much as a team in building a culture of civic responsibility that has almost disappeared from Trinidad and Tobago, which we're trying to reintroduce in our schools. But I think the office of the president is the perfect place because it rides above the fracas of our political situation, and it is the most revered and highest office in the land. It's a perfect place with leadership to rebuild our sense of civics, of caring for each other.
Okay.
You know, and through our youth, whether it's, as I said, the girls, guys, the boys, scouts, I don't care what you choose, youth, steel, orchestras, whatever it is. I think that, you know, Her Excellency will do a phenomenal job in that regard as well.
What stood out to you specifically in her speech?
Oh, I loved the fact there was a lot.
Yes, indeed.
So much time do you have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. She spoke about something that's very, apart from her focus on our youth, that sort of could have easily been missed, which stood out for me, and that's you know, addressing our homeless and healthcare, the homeless population and our health sector, and cleaning that up. And again, that's not something the president of the country can do on her own. You know, that's something that requires, you know, tremendous introspection and honesty, because on paper, our health system should be one of the best in the world, the equivalent of the health system in Norway or Sweden. On paper, it looks great. In practice, not so much. So what changes it when it comes from paper to practice? It's the human element.
Work ethic.
Again, so I come back to the fact that she's going to need help from all of us, from the tippy top, you know, the leadership in the health sector, both private and public. I want to include our private sector here to truly effect change in that regard. And as I said, addressing our homeless population. It's growing tremendously because we are in tough economic times. And that's something that I already do a little bit of work in. So that, of course, stood out for me.
Okay.
So those are the two areas, the two things that really impressed me. And as I said, her humility. You know?
Definitely. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you and
Thanks
getting
for
your
having me.
perspective on the entire thing.